来い。
Yo, what's good everybody? DaymeinB here, and obviously this video is going to be about dash blocking. I'm going to be talking about blocking in general, maybe get into some XYs, things like that. But before we really get deep into this video, I want to give a shout out to ZGT Freak and A Killer for letting me record this fight. I woke up early this morning, they were on. First thing I asked was, yo, let me record this, and they were like, you know what, that's fine. They were glad to help, so I appreciate that, fellas. Alright, so I guess I'll start off covering the basic styles of blocking, I guess. There's the basic block, where you just hold your guard. There's the perfect block, perfect time block. There's the dash block, which is, LT forward and you block. There's the side step block, which is essentially the same thing. You just go to the left or to the right. And there's a block cancel where you juggle, a basic attack combo, and you can block cancel to continue the combo, or you can key cancel block, which is something like you would do with the Kamehameha, or I see a lot with the Neo Tri-Beam. You can, key cancel block with that. Alright, so there are two big things that make a dash block different than a normal standstill block. When you press the LT to dash, you actually have a small invincibility frame. And if you want to check out a video about that, I'll leave it in the description below. It was on Vex's channel, so if you want to check that out, he talked about it a little bit. But you have a small little invincibility frame that you can exploit, and when you block, your guard actually comes up a lot quicker than when you normally just stand still and block. So with that invincibility frame and a quicker frame for blocking, you're almost guaranteed to get that block. So that's kind of the problem when it comes down to dash blocking. When it comes down to the side step block, it's essentially the same thing. But the side step block, that's actually, with this game, it's actually more viable to use, because I know a lot of the times when someone throws a backhand, the backhand curves. Backhand curves a lot. You can perfectly sidestep a backhand, but the backhand will curve no matter what. They'll do 360. So doing a sidestep block in that occasion will actually save you, and it actually makes a lot of sense to do it. Okay, now I'm not saying a forward dash block is bad. Now, I do it a lot of times too. Like sometimes I'll be rushing at my opponent and I'll realize that they're doing like a charge Y or something like that, and I'll block, just off the instinct. So I do it too. And sometimes knowing that your opponent's gonna strike or they're gonna do a tracking combo, so you rush in and block sometimes. I mean, that's helpful. But doing it consistently, I mean, just like anything, it can be cheap. It's obviously something that can be abused, and it can be cheap because, like I said, you have invincibility frames on it and you have a higher rate of actually getting that block. So it definitely can be abused. Alright, so that's pretty much all I wanted to cover about the dash block by itself. When it comes down to talking about it by itself, there's not really too much to cover, but once you actually talk about it, combining it with like XY, and I'll talk about male humans for an example, because I know for a fact in the Xenoverse community, male humans is the #1 race, and everybody agrees with that. We tower over everybody. But yeah, when it comes down to using like the XY, a lot of people XY, and if they don't actually hit you with it, they'll dash block out of it. And that's a really easy way to catch somebody off guard. It's a really easy way to get a block off. And it doesn't really show that you have skill when you consistently do that back to back, because I mean the XY is the quickest move that you can do, so you're just rushing them as quickly as possible. You're not really taking the time out to actually see what your opponent's doing. You're just rushing them and then doing the quickest block as possible too. I mean, so that can really get tedious and annoying after a while, and it can be considered cheap if you're really just doing that the whole time. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion when it comes down to that. I know like a lot of people won't actually agree with that, but I know there's actually like levels to it as well. A lot of people do it a lot better than others, so it does take some form of skill to actually do. I'm not like downing people for doing it, because it does take some form of skill. Don't get me wrong on that. But to consistently do that back to back over and over all game, if you're supposed to be that skillful of a player, do more shit. That's all it is to it. Alright, you guys, but that's the video. If you enjoy, like and subscribe as always. But alright, you guys, peace.